Hey guys, what is up? It is Brett's Fire Alarm Productions. Here is all, or really most of it. I'm missing like 2 devices because they're in storage and I don't really want to unpack them right now. But I do have 2 more devices and some are wrapped up. But here is pretty much all of my fire alarm collections. I have 1 more of these. It's just packed up right now. I'll get it out later. But this is pretty much my whole fire alarm. As you can see, I got quite the collection of system sensor mass or MA devices. And there's 1 more that's also packed up. There's actually 2 more, I think. But we're gonna go over all these devices, which ones I've had the longest, and we will start with my first device. So this is the first fire alarm device I ever got. It is a system sensor Spectra Alert Advance, which I think was made in 2013, I believe, but we'll check it out a little bit. This is a system sensor Spectra Alert Advance. Ironically, this is not one of the devices I've used the most, but I also have 3 fire alarm panels too, for those wondering. So let me just get the plate off, but this is the cover plate. I'm kind of annoyed because I accidentally got this all messed up, so now I have to look up online the terminals to make sure I do this correctly and wire this thing correctly every time I set it up, which makes setting this one up a little bit of a pain, but it's not that big of a deal. But this is a system sensor Spectra Alert Advance. This was the first fire alarm device I ever got. It was, I think, in 2014 or 2013. I think it was 2014 or 2013. It was for my, I think, 10th birthday. Yeah, it was 2014. Never mind, it was 2014. But anyways, that is it for that device. So here is the second fire alarm device I ever purchased. This one is interesting because I have made some customizations to it. So I want to tell you what happened. So this is actually a system sensor MA/SS24 with a light. I actually put a light in this one. Now, the reason it has a light in it is interesting because what happened was the strobe, I could not figure out why it wasn't flashing. Now, the reason it wasn't flashing is because I later found out I wasn't using enough voltage. It wasn't anything wrong with the fire alarm. But I thought the strobe was broken, so I sent this to an electrician to have it fixed. And he put a light in this to fix it because I took the whole thing apart and took the strobe out and I lost the strobe, and I'm really mad at myself for that. But he put a light in it, and that is why this thing has a light in it now, and it actually is really cool. It's very cool. I gotta set this up sometime. It's really cool. This is the back of it. It's got these wires that are soldered to the strobe. It's still got the same system sensor mass terminals. I don't know when this one was made. Illinois Fire Alarms had a video on how to tell the date on these. But this is the thing, his was talking about a mass with a sticker on the back of it. These do not have a sticker on the back of it. So if you know how to do this, if anybody knows how to tell the date on an older mass like this, like an 80s or early 90s system sensor mass, which I think is when these were made, if you know how to tell the date, decipher the date code or where it is, I would really appreciate it, because I would love to know how old these are, because I have a bunch of them. And so yeah, that's it for that device. Now this is probably the system sensor mass. This is probably my favorite out of all of them because this was the first one I actually got to work. This is a system sensor mass, and as you can tell, the label has definitely seen better days, which is why I try not to handle this one too much because I don't want to destroy the label any more than it is. I mean, it's not terrible, but this is the strobe on it. This one was NOS too. It was new old stock, so it's never been installed before except on my systems, because I did have a system at one point in my other house, but then we moved, so I had to take that system down. So this is the screw terminals and everything. This is just how it works. So this is the first one I actually got this figured out why, because another reason I bought this one because I wanted one with the strobe working, and then I couldn't get the strobe to work on this one either, and I'm like, did I get a defective unit? And then I found out it was because I was using 9 volts instead of 24 volts, and that this strobe needed 24 volts to run. So I had to get 3 9-volt and I was worried about using 3 9-volt batteries that it would overpower it. But then I found out that's how people were running these, and it would not damage the device to run it that way. And so This one was originally on slow whoop, but because I was impatient and I wanted one of these to have a different tone, I decided to break off the A tab to give it 800 hertz because that's the tone I wanted it on. Because my old school, when I was a little kid, had these and they were all set to 800 hertz, and I wanted one on that, and I'm really mad I did that because now this thing is stuck on it and I'm not changing it again, because once you change the tone on these, it is permanent. It is an older, and for those wondering, this is the system sensor model, not the BRK model. And so yeah. So here's another system sensor mass I have. This one is also stuck on 800 hertz because I changed the tone on this one for good too. This was the first one I actually changed the tone on. This is another one I got. This one, however, is a 12 volt model, which made this setting this one up interesting because I could only use 12 volts. So this is, once again, the system sensor model, just the typical mass terminals. So it is 12 volts. I'm gonna try to go through these in order as best as I can, but I'm not gonna be able to go through these in perfectly good order. But this one I bought online. And so yeah, this is a really cool device. It's a 12 volt model rather than a 24 volt model. So yeah. So this one is interesting because it's rare because it does not have the fire lettering on the front. It's only on the sides. Now the reason for that is because this is actually system sensor at the time, I think, was owned by BRK Electronics, so these were also made under the BRK Electronics name. Now, the BRK Electronics version was a little bit different, and that is because, just like the system sensor one, it has the brake tabs. You can't change the tone without changing it permanently. Now, there is a way around that. Somebody said there is a way you can modify these to make it to where you can use the clips. The circuitry is very similar one, which I will put a comparison, but this one has a potentiometer, whereas the system sensor version I do not think has that. And this one has different tones than the system sensor model. Like this one is standard on 800 hertz, whereas if you get a system sensor model with the brake tabs, it's standard on slow whoop. And so yeah, that one's interesting. Interesting thing about this one is when I bought it, the seller told me the strobe did not work, but when I actually tried it, the strobe worked just fine. All right, now this one is kind of custom because originally it had a different strobe, but I felt like the strobe did not match the color as well, so I put the strobe on another fire alarm that I felt like matched the color better because I had another mass, which I have that one packed up somewhere. I gotta find it. But this one is a system sensor mass 24 DC or mass 24D ceiling mount. So once again, the standard mass terminals. Again, the difference between a mass and a BRK mass and a system sensor mass is a system sensor mass generally has this kind of circuitry layout, and both will have either the BRK will always have the brake tabs, whereas the system sensor version can come with the tone jumpers, just like this one here, which is set on 800 hertz, which I really like that because you can change it back once you change it. It is not permanent. So this is rare because it's a ceiling mount version and it's got the large fire lettering, which normally the ceiling mount versions you see on YouTube do not. So this is a relatively rare device. I think there's like 2 other people that have one of these. So yeah. All right, so here's another device I have. This one originally, this one's interesting because I put this strobe on here because I got this strobe off of another one, which the other one I have was a 12 volt model and this one's a 24 volt model. The circuitry of this one is a 24 volt, which the other one has a 12 volt. So this came off of a different one that I got that the horn had something, somebody had put something in the horn, which I still have it, the plastic part. So I took the circuitry out of this one and put it into one that did not. And I took the strobe off of that one and put the strobe on this one. So this is a mass 24. Again, this is this one, the label is pretty much perfect. This one has the brake tabs, which I'm not going to change the tone on this one because if I did, I'd have to break off these tabs and that would permanently change it. So I'm not changing the tone on this one. So yeah, this one is pretty interesting though. And so yeah. I do still have the 12 volt circuitry that came with this one, so it's just in another device. It's in the one that that this one originally was, which I still have the device. I just got to find it somewhere. It's packed up somewhere. So here is an interesting device because this guy sold me a system sensor mass without the strobe. It had no strobe, but it had all the components for the strobe. I could tell it was originally a mass. It originally had a strobe, but the guy had taken the strobe off and was selling it as just a horn. So I bought this, and I bought a strobe for it because there was a strobe for sale on eBay. There were some remote strobe versions of the mass, and so I took a strobe off of her and put a strobe on this one. So it is a system sensor mass 24D. Once again, this one has the tone jumpers. And so this one has an EOL on it because it was the end of line device at one point on my system I had. So again, this one is set to 800 Hertz right now. I will do an all tones video on this device to show all the tones on it. So yeah, that is kind of just an overview of that device. That is it. Here is another NOS system sensor mass. This one is probably one of the nicest ones I have because I still have the box for this one. This one is another one I changed the tone on. Again, I don't know why I keep changing the tone on these because I always end up regretting it. And this one I really regret because it's an NOS device and it's one of the best condition devices I have. And so yeah, so this is, once again, it's the system sensor model. So a lot of people think only the BRK version came with the brake tabs. That is not true. System Sensor made their own versions that came with the brake tabs, which again, you can tell this is a System Sensor version because of the circuitry and the screw terminals. The BRK version normally has flathead screw terminals, whereas the System Sensor version does not, though the early System Sensor versions did. But the System Sensor versions had this right here rather than a potentiometer. And even the BRK versions that did not have the potentiometer had a spot for it right here, whereas the System Sensor versions did not. So this is once again one with the brake tabs, and the tone changes are permanent on this one. You cannot change it back. This one is permanently stuck on 800 Hertz because of that, which again, I noticed the pitch on some of these is a little bit higher. Like this one is much higher pitched than a few of them. Some of them have different pitches, I notice. That's just interesting. So here is actually the most recent system sensor mass I got. So this one is a system sensor mass. This one is interesting because the terminal comes out the side right here, which is very, very interesting. Normally it comes out the top. This one is a system sensor mass 24. This one I bought specifically because I wanted to change the tone, and so this one is changing the tone. I do not regret changing this one. This one was used, so it's not something I'm very upset about. So this is the terminals once again. System sensor model. It's a really cool device. I really like it. This is the most recently acquired system sensor mass I got. So it's a system sensor mass 24L or mass 24I. I don't know what they call it, but it's a one with the brake tabs. The mass 24L or mass 24I is the one with the brake tabs, and the mass 24D has the tone jumpers. So these two are actually quite literally the same device. This is again, I'll show you how you can tell the difference. This one is the BRK model, and once again, it has a potentiometer. And this one, even though it doesn't have a potentiometer, it has a spot for it right there. Notice how the circuitry of these is remarkably similar. Again, this is a BRK version. The system sensor version is not the same. There's some circuitry differences, but they're very similar alarms. So, yeah. Once again, they got the brake tabs, and these are both stuck on 800 Hertz for good, so you cannot change the tone on these without breaking the tabs, so I'm not going to change the tone. This one has definitely seen better days, but it does work. I know it works. I don't know if they damaged it while removing it. It's kind of sad though, but I'm still keeping it. It's still really a device I really like. Again, it can still be installed. I mean, it just doesn't look as great. I mean, I could try to fix this as best as I can, but it can still be installed. So yeah, this one is in much better condition. This one actually came with its back plate, the trim plate. So I gotta go find that. I have that packed up somewhere. But yeah, so that's those two. So this is a system sensor MA1224D. This one, once again, has the tone jumpers. This is one I bought specifically because it was a horn only with the tone jumpers. So this is a interesting device. This one, I don't know why, but it's quieter than my other MAs. It still puts out about 95 decibels at the horn. So it's not terribly quiet, but it's about like 5 or 10 decibels quieter than my other system sensor MA devices, which is weird. I don't know if there's something wrong with it. If anybody could tell me if maybe there's a way to make it better or fix it, I would appreciate that. But it works, so that's not a big deal. Well, once again, another system sensor MAS 24L or MAS 24I. I know it's one with the brake tabs. This one has the brake tabs. It is set on slow whoop. Not changing this one because, once again, I can't change it back once I change it. So I'm not going to change the tone on this one. This is the internal circuitry. Something happened to the label on this one. I don't know what, but something happened to the label and it's kind of scratched up right here. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if they were, you can kind of see a little bit of what's left of it, but yeah, something happened to this label. All right, and this is probably one of our final MAS 24 devices. This is a MAS 24L as well. This one is interesting because it is a system sensor model, but it must be a later one because normally the ones with the brake tabs have it in green, have the clips in green, but this one's in black right there. The lettering is in black. And yes, this is, once again, a system sensor model, and the terminals are much more like the tone jumper versions. These are the same terminals they use. So the terminals are, this one, the strobe is a little bit faded, so I think it was probably installed by a window. It could have been installed outside though. This one's the label. This is the label. This label is not in the best of shape, but it's not too bad, so that's nice. Once again, it's stuck on slow whoop. I had to replace one of the screws on this one because one of the screws had something wrong with it, so, but it works. It works fine, so that is perfectly good. So anybody who's watched JJink, I think it's JJink24, but I remember he sold off his whole collection, and this was his system sensor MAS. And I will find some photos online and post them, but yes, this is the same exact system sensor MAS 24D he had. I bought it from him. I can't remember how much he sold it to me for, but this one is set to 800 hertz. Again, it is a system sensor MAS 24D. This is the label right here, which that is it. And so yeah, I'll show some photos of this device. Again, I bought this from JJink. I think JJink24 was his name, but he was selling off his whole collection, and he sold this to me on eBay, and I bought it from him. So yeah, that's that. Now here is a Simplex 2901-9833. I still have the box for this somewhere. I know, I just don't know where it is. But this was new old stock. It has never been installed before. It works perfectly too. It's pretty much brand new. It's a really awesome device. I had wanted one of these for a long time, and I'm really glad I got one. It was expensive though, but I'm so glad I have it. It's a really nice device. All right, so here's another device I have. This is a system sensor PA400R. This does work perfectly fine. It's a horn only version. It's a mini horn. It's really interesting. I like the way it looks. It actually is really interesting. The sound definitely gets your attention, though any fire alarm does. So yeah, not much to see here. This is just the terminals. I mean, there's the positive and the negative terminal. So yeah. All right, so this one is interesting. So this one really annoys me because the strobe does not work on this one, and it's my fault because I was trying to fix it and I ended up breaking the strobe when I was trying to fix something on it. But the horn works perfectly fine. This is a 4-wire 7002T, 34T-24-WS-24 DC. This is a basically a 4-wire 7002T, but the horn works great. I am gonna see maybe if I can figure out a way to fix the strobe. I would love to, but it's got a problem with it. So I will see if I can maybe buy see if I can find one maybe where the horn doesn't work, but the strobe works, and maybe see if I can fix the strobe on this one someday. But this one does work, so the horn works. That's fine, but it's still kind of annoying that the strobe doesn't work, and it's totally my fault because I was trying to fix something on it and I accidentally broke the strobe. All right, here is a fire alarm probably everybody knows and loves. This is a Wheelock 7002T, and I mean, who doesn't have one of these in their collection? This is one of my favorite fire alarms. Not my favorite of all time. My favorite of all time is the System Sensor Mass, but this is an absolutely awesome fire alarm. I'm so glad I have this. This was a Christmas present that my mom got for me, and it was like one of the best Christmas presents ever. It's really awesome. This does, since this is a Wheelock 7002T, meaning it's 2-wire, this one does make the skipping sound. This one, when the strobe would flash, would not make the skipping sound, but this one does make the skipping sound when the strobe flashes. And so, yeah, this is a really awesome device. I'm very glad I have it. All right, so one interesting thing about this is this originally had a ceiling strobe on it, but I took that off and put that on my ceiling mount System Sensor Mass, and I put a wall strobe on this one. So this is a System Sensor SS24 remote strobe. Once again, this is a System Sensor SS24 remote strobe, and not much to see here. It's just a typical remote strobe, so yeah. So this is another System Sensor SS24 remote strobe. This is a really cool device. This one, actually, I got 2 of these. One of the strobes is on one of my System Sensor Mass 24Ds. And again, not much to see here. It's just a remote strobe. It's pretty basic. All right, now let's get into pull stations. So this was the first pull station I ever got. It's an Edwards 270 SPO. It does work. I gotta get it to just work properly. It does work. I think I flipped the switch in it because when I was setting stuff up, stuff wasn't working right. So I'm gonna have to check everything. Unfortunately, the screw is like totally ate up in it, so I can't really open it that easily. It's very annoying because I love this pull station, but I'm gonna see if I can get maybe one of these that doesn't work or one that needs work, and see if I can take the lock off of it and put the lock on this one, because I would really like to get this one working again. But yeah, it's a local alarm version of it, which is a little bit rare, not terribly rare, but still. So this is my Fire-Lite BG10, and I'm really mad about this one because the freaking wire broke off right here, so now this one no longer works. I'm gonna have to see if maybe there's a way I can solder it back on or something, or maybe get another BG10. I'm still keeping this one either way though, but it's really annoying because this one now no longer works, and I'm gonna see if I can get another BG10. It would be really nice. But yeah, it's a BG10L. Let me get the key because I got the Fire-Lite key. Let me get the Fire-Lite key. Yeah, it's got the but yeah, it's got the button in it, so yeah. It's a Fire-Lite BG10L. I'm really annoyed that that pull station button broke, but that's that. So let me put that back in the BG12. Which, you know what? That gets me to my next pull station. This is probably the most recent one I got. This is a Fire-Lite BG12. And so pretty obviously it's just a typical BG12, which again, it's got the, I prefer the BG12L, which is the which is the key version. And so yeah, just basically open it up. And so yeah, this one is a key version. And one thing is the Fire-Lite key will work in the fire alarm panel. It will work for the BG10 and it'll work with any Fire-Lite device. So I actually have 2 of these smoke detectors. This is a System Sensor 2400. They do work. I know they work because I've tested them before. And so this is an interesting smoke detector. This is the back of it. Let's see if we can figure out when this one was made. I think it might actually say somewhere, but yeah, hold on. I can't find the date code. I'll let y'all guys know in the description if I find it. But this is just a typical System Sensor 2400. I might get some more smoke detectors, but yeah. All right, here is a Simplex 425120. This was my first pull station I got that used a key to reset. It uses the Simplex B key. I really like this pull station. This is a very well-built pull station. It's a really nice pull station. It's a Simplex T-Bar 425120. It's a very well-built pull station. All right, so this might look like an Edwards 270 SPO, which it's made by a company owned by Edwards, but it is actually an Alarm Industry Products 270 SPO, which my school from when I was little actually had these as well, which is why I have a lot of these, because it's the same reason I have a lot of System Sensor masses, because the schools I went to when I was little, 2 of the places I went to had these with System Sensor masses, and a gun store in that same area has that same system. It has these and System Sensor masses, which that must have been a common thing down in that area, because a lot of the buildings I go to in that area still have that same setup. But again, I think this one was this. I don't know if I put this resistor here or if this was an end-of-line device, maybe. But again, it just pulls like that. Now I gotta open it up. These can be a pain to open up. Yeah. So yeah, that's just that. Here's another one. This one's one with pigtail connectors though, rather than screw terminals, which I prefer terminals. This is a local alarm version of one, which again, it's just pretty much just that. This is another local alarm version. Again, it's an Alarm Industry Products 270 SPO or AI 270 SPO. Here's another local alarm, Edwards 270 SPO. This is an Edwards version. This one actually is a never mind. This is a 270 DPO. It has more terminals. This is an Edwards 270 SPO with no lock. This one does work, so that's good. I just need to get it. I need to get a lock for this one. I'm gonna see if I can find some 270 series pull stations, maybe if I can get a lot of them, and see if I can get some that don't work. And then I got some other devices, like I got a newer 270 SPO. This lock is also broken. And then an empty remote strobe piece. This is a mass remote strobe. And this rare standard pull station, which unfortunately does not work and is not in that great a shape, but I'm still keeping it because it is rare. So yeah, that'll be it. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for